Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Silent breed is people!
One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
E.T. phone home.
It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him, Senator Jeff Howe. We call him Colonel DOGE here in the program, helping us find all the waste going on out there. How you doing, Senator?
Terrific. It's a great day out here. It's nice and sunny. It looks like it's going to be a great day. Should be golfing.
Well, yeah, it was windy yesterday. I did golf a little yesterday. But you're at Camp Ripley, right? Is that what you told me?
Yeah, I'm up at Camp Ripley. They're doing a retirement a breakfast. They do this once a year for the retired military up here, and to tell them what's changed in their benefits and where to go to get stuff.
It's interesting that you were going to do that because I knew you were coming on today, and as I'm thinking how to want to approach what we're talking about, this is what I want to do. You're a great Army guy, a great service member. Back in the day when I went to Camp Ripley, Camp McCoy sometimes as well, spent a couple of weeks in the winter out there, you'd come back, and as a staff sergeant, you have after-actions reports to fill out. What worked, what didn't, standard operating procedures, how do you make them better? You sit there and say, somebody didn't bring out the commodes, so we got 20,000 troops running around pooping in the woods. So how do we fix it? You write it down, so you go through all the mistakes that happen, right? You're shaking your head. I'm not lying, right? That's how this Army does it.
That's how it works.
Says that hopefully every time you're better then. You don't make the same mistake twice. Is there any sort of after-actions report ever done at the state level in Minnesota? What I mean by this, we've been talking the Feeding Our Futures over and over and over. Is that to be wrote on after-actions? This is how we stop this from happening? We'll drive past places from now on, whatever that would be. I don't hear that answer.
I don't think any of our agencies have that experience. I don't think they really know how to do that. I mean, that is something that it's ingrained as some military guys, right?
Yeah.
We know that we're supposed to take a look at that. Hey, what went right? What went wrong? What do we need to improve? What do we got to make sure doesn't happen again? I think everybody here in these agencies are just looking at how do we make sure that the finger doesn't get pointed at me?
That's the feeling that I get. That you're absolutely 100%. So how do you, this is what I expect on my Colonel Doge, go in there and turn this around? It was autism, it was child care, it's Feeding Our Futures. It's all the same racket. No one seems to care enough to go look to see if it's actually going to the right person or if there's actually kids at the clinic. How do we change that feeling? So at least I feel we could screw up. People screw up. Army guys, we screwed up all the time. You never screwed up the same way twice. You had to find a new way because, we fixed the last time.
That's all our leadership asked for us, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I told you this once before. I won't tell you again.
Exactly.
I'll find somebody else to do the job and you'll be gone.
See, I knew you'd understand what I'm talking about. I don't get that same feeling in Minnesota as I do in the service.
You're right. I mean,
okay.
All they do here, how do I make sure that I'm not liable for this and I cover my tracks and it's somebody else's fault?
Yeah.
That's what well, don't blame me. This is the way it was set up. Yeah, well, you didn't try to fix it.
Well, let's talk, because today's story bothers me quite a little bit. On this program, 2 years ago when they came up, and I'm going to say, I don't remember what the name of the program was, but basically, if your family makes less than $80,000 a year, go to any Minnesota school, we're picking up the tab. Doesn't that lovely? 80, it'll get to 100, it'll get to 120 at some point, we'll just do it all. But right now it's at 80. And I don't know if I told you, but on the program we talked about it. You do this, and the rates will go up.
Absolutely.
The point being is they have no downward pressure. Poor people don't even have to try to get in because they get in. Rich folks don't care. So it's how much we raise it to squeeze those folks in the middle, because that's the only group who's going to care about our pricing. You did it. We started kids going there. University of Minnesota says, well, we're raising it anyway, the cost, because we're a land grant university. Aren't they special? Today's story out of KSTP. If you and your child go to Minnesota State College or university, good chance It's going to become more expensive. They're talking about tuition increase up to 18% in the next 2 years.
Yep.
Who in the world is the marketing people for the University of Minnesota and the state schools? Literally yesterday, or the day before, a story comes out, 15% of the people going to these 2- and 4-year colleges aren't going to class. They're not there. They're scammers taking our money, 15%. And then they don't have an answer on how we're going to fix it. The guy on the Century said, we could have them come to class at least once and see that they're humans, but that'd be a lot of work. Sir, now they're going to come back and say, we'd rather just raise it 18%. This is unfathomable to me.
What's wrong with actually requiring them to, like the military did? Let's go back to the military. By God, if you wanted to get your tuition assistance,
yep,
you had to pass the class. Right?
Yeah.
You paid up front, you got reimbursed. What's wrong with that program? Oh, well, these kids can't afford to get in.
To get in.
Right?
See, is it asking too much? And I get it. People want to run their lives differently today. We're old people, Jeff. I hate to tell you that, Senator. We're old. But I was in college before computers. I mean, seriously, we were just figuring it out. It was 83. You had to sit your butt in class. You had to sign in, say you were at class so you can keep track when you have these huge classes. Anyway, my point being is things can change, no problem. You want to go to an all-online class, go ahead, but you pay for it. If you want the federal government, Al's money, I need you to prove you're there. Go to the first class, shake a hand with the teacher like the good old days, meet somebody once in a while, then go back to your home. I don't care. But this idea that they never are seen by a human being and we just send a check, it can't be that it just can't be that easy, sir. Just can't be.
We have not put any safeguards in on anything. And, when you talk about these programs that keep growing, keep in mind, I go back to this, we have SNAP, right?
Yep.
And that's supposed to that's supposed to take care of everybody that really is below the poverty guidelines,
yep.
right? Supposed to help those folks be able to feed them and their families.
Yep.
That wasn't good enough. We started free and reduced lunch. So now we're going to do that program.
And breakfast.
And in Minnesota, gee whiz, that isn't enough. We got to feed everybody is going to get free lunch.
No.
Well, gee whiz, then I talked to Blue Cross Blue Shield. They've got a food program. I talked to Catholic Charities. They've got a food program. Lutheran Social Services, they got a program. Everybody's feeding somebody. And I'm going, so take a look at the administrative cost of all of that, when what we should have done is go back and look at SNAP and said, it's not catching everybody. We need to adjust that.
Yeah.
And it would have been much cheaper to do that than what we are currently doing.
I don't remember. Who was the name of the food place that was a gal was making $750,000 for the nonprofit food place last week? Second Harvest?
Second Harvest
Yeah.
Food Shelf, right?
Yeah.
Gee whiz, and you were asking the taxpayers for another $500,000. Well, why don't you just take it out of her salary? She can donate it.
Well, this goes right back around. God, I love doing radio with you, my friend. So in this higher ed, right, this is all coming after the fact that we found out 15% of the kids aren't going to class. Well, instead of raising tuition 18%, get the money, get rid of these kids that aren't in class. That's your 18%. But didn't this just come, somebody in the House, O'Neill, came out and said, said 2,100 people at the University of Minnesota, 2,100 are making more than the governor makes.
Right?
And yet they're going to raise tuition by 18%? Are you flipping kidding me?
Yeah. And the thing is why do we constantly got to pay more? Why don't you find out, especially with, remember, technology is supposed to make this so much easier. Why do we need all these people? Gee whiz. Come on.
Name 2,100 jobs that are that important. You got the chancellor, a couple of vice chair. I can't name 2,100 jobs that I would think are more important than the governor of the state of Minnesota.
I agree. Now I'm going to shift gears and come back to Ripley, and we got a state veteran cemetery up here, right?
Yep.
How many years did you serve in the Guard?
6. 6 in the reserves.
6 in the reserves. And didn't get deployed.
No, I did not. No.
So Did you know that? But you spent over 181 days on active duty, right? Or
See,
no?
that was funny. I split train to go to college. So it split up. I had 180, it wasn't straight because I split one summer and the next summer, and so I don't get any of the bennies.
So here's the deal. Now, wouldn't you like to have the option to be buried up in a state cemetery someplace, state veteran cemetery? Guess what? You can't get that done.
I know.
I had a bill to make that happen. They said it was going to cost, we're going to need 18 additional full-time employees to make that happen. 6 at every veteran cemetery. There's going to be so many people coming in there. In order to do this right, we're going to need 18 people. So what they did, they killed my bill with a fiscal note.
Seriously,
so here comes the Hmong, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let's go back a few years. 2015, I was doing the Vietnam Veterans Memorial at the Capitol. Mm-hmm. I had a bill for that. The Hmong, all the allies wanted it in it. The Hmong, the Cambodian, the Laotians, the Vietnamese that fought with us all wanted a part of that. I said, I don't have a problem with that. You guys get together. Tell me what you want. I'll make it happen. Guess what? The infighting began. They couldn't come to an agreement. I said, well, then you're out. I ain't messing with it. Either come to an agreement among yourselves or I ain't playing. So I didn't put them in because they couldn't come to an agreement. Here we come. A decade later, the Hmong folks come with an amendment to the Vets Bill that they want to be recognized and they want in on the benefits. And I went, wait a minute, you're going to let these guys, and maybe they deserve it, but as far as I'm concerned, all of those folks were mercenaries. They were hired by the CIA and the U.S. government to fight our fight. And now you're going to put them and allow them to be buried in these cemeteries before you take guys like you, guys like other folks that wore our uniform, swore an oath to this country, and you're going to put them in the line before you guys, before my guys? I don't get it.
See, there's so many, and I only complain because I know about it, and I completely agree with you. Not that I have any thought of where I want to be buried, but I blame my recruiter because I told him I want to go to college. Don't worry, and he instantly said we can do it in 2 summers, summer right after college. Get her done, and that was fine. It worked out well for me. And then I went for my VA bill, GI bill. Oh, you don't get it if you only had it 180 days consecutive. I'm like, well, no one mentioned that to me. Then I found out about the burial and all this stuff. It's like, man, I might have made a different choice at 18 if I knew all the benefits came with going straight through. The
thing is that piece, because it was all due to training, it really didn't qualify anyway because it's a different title. But you know what? You might have joined for 3 years and spent some active duty time, right?
Yeah, I could have, I enjoyed my time in service.
There's some options there that we don't know until we get older. But I tell you what, I still believe that we should allow that to happen. But I'm not on board now. And what really got me is now with this Hmong piece, they're going to absorb all the cost.
Oh, really? They'll just...
Yeah, I'm going, well, gee whiz, you couldn't do that for the National Guard and Reserve folks.
Oh, that's funny. Sir, I know you're fighting the fight. I got to go to a break. I don't want to cut you off. I know you're fighting for us. We just got to get some, people hate me when I say it, we got to get some aspects of military into what we're doing in the state because there's no after actions. I'm not hearing anybody say this is how this gets fixed and we'll make it better next time. We'll be back after this with more. Colonel DOGE, love having him on. Senator Jeff Howe.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
Dust from gravel roads and driveways does more than make your car dirty inside and out. It gets down into your lungs, and it's bad for your health. Now there's an environmentally friendly solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Block. DustLock can control all your summer dust problems with just one application. Protect your vehicle and your lungs. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS SHOW.
We've got him, Colonel DOGE, with us, Senator Jeff Howe. Senator, in the Who in the World's Your Marketing Guy, I asked this question. About 100 unionized state workers demonstrated, according to KSTP, outside the Minnesota Department of Health building, draw attention to their new negotiations and their upsetness with the back to the office work program that Governor Walz put out there. Senator, I can tell you, I don't think there are 10 people that have regular jobs in all of Minnesota that gives a crap if you're upset you got to go to the office twice a week.
Yeah, give me a break. You know, you might have some counties that don't have people back yet that might sympathize with them, but other than that, the regular working folks, get your butt to work, folks. Come on.
The sympathy isn't there. A lot of us, and I didn't know they weren't back yet, I thought COVID was practically done 3 years ago. I mean, how long, 2 years ago? It's been a long time since I've worried about the COVID, no mask, that sort of thing. And these folks are still working from home, and the governor, he stepped in my book. He should have brought them back for 100%, because then at least guys on my side are like, good, go back to work. But now it's half, so I'm mad why they only get half. The other side's mad because they got to give half. He got everybody mad at him with that little law.
And now, I heard this morning when they said that it was, you had that 75-mile deal. Well, now I heard that he took that off. He goes, I don't know where that came from. He goes, everybody needs to come back halftime.
I did not.
Holy smokes! I know somebody in Missouri that's not going to be happy with that decision.
See, and again, this is so weird. And we have 1 minute, sir. I think a lot of what we do now can be done on computers and that sort of thing. But then you set it up. Do you know that these 5 projects got done in X number of hours? You have to set up. You don't send them all home because of COVID. and then never bring it back to, well, they got used to it. I don't care.
Yeah, and I will tell you that going back to your after-action review type deal, I will say that they had a Metro Meals on Wheels program that we're supposed to do a report every September, right? And they only did it 2 years. It was a pilot program. Guess what? We never got a report. Now the outfit offered me a report after they heard I brought it up in committee, and I said, I don't want your report. I want the Department of Veterans Affairs report. That's on how it worked. I don't need the outfit that got the money. I don't want your report. I want to know the agency, how they handled it. And of course, 2 years, no reports.
Yeah.
And now they ended the program, so why
no harm, no
do it now? Why spend the money on staff to do that report now?
See that, and again, because you're an Army guy, you've been in the service, you understand what I'm talking about. We need some of that. I don't want everybody marching in step to go to the office, but yes, we need to find out how to make this better, and we're not getting it. Colonel, I love having you on the program, my boy. Well, good luck, and say hi to the other soldiers up there today at camp.
I tell you what, it's tough watching some of my old commanders walk by. I'm going, gee whiz, I'm going to look that tough.
We're all getting older, my friend. We'll talk to you. Thank you, Senator.
You got it. Thanks.
Senator Jeff Howe.